Hey kids, hey. Taking my pillows. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, think you can get away with shit because you're cute? I mean, you're right, but also. Hello and welcome back to Useless Lesbian Tries to Figure Out How to Work Her New Webcam, Take 4. Everything's reversed, so it's weird. Oh, it's a doggo. Oh, he's so soft. Okay, so I've just been kind of poking around on YouTube, like you do. And I started watching a bunch of the old, like, cringy auditions for America's Got Talent and X Factor and American Idol, and you don't really see any for The Voice. I don't know if maybe that's just they do it differently. I did audition for America's Got Talent about, I want to say it was about 2 years ago, but it was really interesting for me to actually see how those kinds of shows work, and there were a lot of things that I found out about them that were really different from what what the show leads you to believe, like how those like how auditions and things works. So I just thought I would share my experience going through that. And then I also have a friend who actually tried out for, I think it was American Idol, and I'm going to be doing a video with her at some point probably, if you guys are interested, talking about her experience with that as well. But for America's Got Talent, they gave you two options. You could actually record yourself and then submit your audition online, and or you could go in to a location in person, and they had like specific days and times in specific cities. I want to say the one that I went to was in Kansas. I'd have to check. I know it wasn't too far away from where I live, which is in Nebraska. It was like a day drive. I had a couple of friends who actually drove with me, just keep me company, thought it would be fun. Wasn't really taking the whole thing serious. Like if I'd wound up like getting onto the show, I mean, like that would have been really cool, but you know, not really expecting that that was gonna happen, and it didn't. So cool expectations. So we got there, and when you check in, like you go through security, obviously they want to make sure that someone's not trying to sneak in something crazy. You go into this it was at a convention center that the auditions were held at. And Higgins, what are you doing? Stop it. Hey, get down. Get it. Higgins. The auditions were held in a convention center, and basically what they do is you sign in, they give you like a sticker that you can wear somewhere on your body that's got like your number. They give you one of those, you have to put it somewhere prominent so everyone can see your number. And then they actually have you sit in this giant room with everybody else. And throughout the room they've got like almost like red carpet. They've got like they had like a big kind of like a dance floor. They had these like systematic placements of like these big vanity mirrors and things, and they're looking to see, like they had cameras all over the place. They're looking to see which people are really like out there, like they want attention. Like you had people who were just like having dance offs on the dance floor, like they're obviously like they're showing off what they've got. They're not shy, they've got, you know, a kind of presence. They're gonna fight for that attention. And then they're looking to see which people are hanging out at the vanities, which people are like singing at the top of their lungs practicing. You know, they're looking for, it's a show, they want people who are going to be entertaining, so they're looking for people who are going to be either the most entertaining, the most, like they're looking for people who are going to be the loudest, they're looking for people who are going to be the funniest, the most obnoxious even. That is one of the things that they're looking for, because if you have like a nice calm tame professional show, I mean, people are going to watch it, but not nearly as many people as like people love drama. That's what people watch these kinds of shows for. And you know, and then they've got like the, you know, the dream that they could be on there too, but a lot of it is the drama. Like if you talk to someone about like any one of these shows, like I guarantee in that conversation someone's gonna bring up like the guy who sang like she bangs, oh baby, when she moves, or one of the you know, a contestant who just got like off the wall angry and stormed out like swearing a blue streak, or had to be escorted out by security.
All right, just
what
leave.
Kind of people are you?
Rachel, just leave now.
Kiss my away.
Please.
And I'd get your hands off me as well, because
Things like that. It's the drama that people remember. So you go and you sit in this room. When you signed up for America's Got Talent, at least, I think there were only like 2 or 3 categories that you could mark for like what you were auditioning with. And it basically came down to singing and other. They said it was at least 90, I think it actually would have been more like 95% of people who try out for America's Got Talent are people who are coming to sing. Odds are not good for you if you're going to go do singing. Like, you're better off like juggling Pomeranians, or I don't know, setting fire to your hair and doing the hula. So what they would do is they would actually break people down into what type of act they were going to be doing. So if you were singing, they put you in a group with, I think there were about 15 people in each group. It might have been more like 20. I think it was like 15. But they put you all in a bunch in a big group, and then you wait. There is a whole lot of waiting. And it was kind of entertaining because you could watch, the other people in there. I did unfortunately end up sitting next to a girl she was only like 12. She had volume. Unfortunately, her singing voice itself was not very good. And I felt really bad for her because she just was dripping with this ego, but she had like 12 other family members there with her. Like, these people were feeding this, I don't know how to say it. Like, the family was obviously trying to use her for fame. I mean, this kid just thought that she was the greatest thing, and the parents are like encouraging, like, to the point that the parents were actually and the family, she had a ridiculous number of people with her. They were actually like glaring at people around them who were also practicing, because it's like, oh, how dare you? She's trying to practice. Like, it just wasn't a good. I felt so sorry for that girl, because it's like you just knew that nothing good was gonna come out of that. But so we sat there and we waited and we waited and we waited. I think we sat there for 3 or 4 hours before we got called into a room. And during that time, they actually had us go out, and I think it was 4 times. They had us just act like we were all walking into the convention center at the same time. And they singled in on specific people. It's like, oh, you're wearing like this really cool, like, extravagant, like, evening gown. And people did that because it's like, hey, look at me. I want the attention on me. I want the focus. Like, they're looking for that. But they would grab specific people and like move them around so they were closer to the camera. They would tell you suggestions on like what kind of things you could be saying, like whether it was like cheering or like, oh, I'm so excited, or I'm so nervous. And they had us just all walk from the one end of the convention entry to the other. And they had us do this like 4 times, and they had us do like a little bit of different thing every time. It was like they would kind of change. It's like, oh, we need people to be louder on this side, or we need like, more smiles, or like just the whole thing. Just like even just like seeing people walking into the convention center was fabricated. Then we went back into the big room, and then they did. Oh my God, I don't remember how long they actually did this for, but it was like they easily spent an hour just moving. Like, they had some of those like big cameras that were on, I don't know what you call them, but it's like kind of like a big wheel thing that you put the camera on, and then you can move it around easier so it like flows smoothly. They had people who were having like their dance off in the middle of that dance floor, and then it's like, oh, okay, these people, everyone in this area, come gather around the dance floor, like, look like you're cheering, like, we're excited, this is amazing. And then they would have us freeze. Like, it's like, okay, everyone's dancing. It's like, okay, put your hand up, put your hand down, move your head to the side. You're taller, you come up front. Your outfit's cooler, you go over here. And then they just had us freeze. And then they would have everyone change slightly. And they just kept doing this over and over and over again. Unfortunately, you did have the option of sitting out, but like you had to be over in a specific area so that like you wouldn't be seen like moving in the background of everyone who's like supposedly holding still. And which I did after like the first 45 minutes, because it's like, I can't stand here anymore. This is like, just like, you'd have to stand like that. But it took them a few minutes, and it's like if anyone moved slightly, they had to start it over again. So it took forever, and it was just like, I'm done. So after about 3 or 4 hours, we got called back. My group got called back, and what they did was they took us from one room, sitting and waiting, to another smaller room where we sat and waited in these like super uncomfortable, just like convention chairs. And then we all got pulled into a smaller convention room eventually. And they had us all, we all sat along one wall, and then they had a camera in the middle and I don't know if it was like I don't think it was a producer, but someone with that camera would be standing there. It's like, okay, read off your name, tell us what you're going to be singing. You've got, I think it was 90 seconds that you had to sing or perform or whatever. And they actually had these sheets that we had to fill out while we were waiting. It was like, do you have a YouTube channel? Like, what's your goal? Why are you here? Like they're looking for things that, like sad stories or things that they can spin so it's like inspirational, or they're looking for people who have like a crazy bad ego because they know that if you get them up there and someone like Simon says like, oh, you don't actually have any talent, then they're going to lose their minds. So one of the big things that I learned when I was when I was auditioning for this is the people that you see on the shows where they're auditioning and like they're being made fun of, like like the judges are like, oh, you don't have any talent, like you're terrible, you're an idiot, why would you do this? That is the third or fourth time that those people you're seeing have actually auditioned for the show. So they would go to an audition like what I did. Then there would be another one with, it's like a producer. And then sometimes there is then another interview or another audition or an interview. And then they would actually get to the point where they're on where they're on the show and being actually, like they're actually auditioning in front of the judges that everyone thinks you just go straight to seeing. It's like when you see, I don't remember which show it was, but probably all of them. They'll be like, "Oh, look at all these people who are here to audition today," and it like looks like they're all lined up, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get a chance to audition." That's the fourth time that they've been there. Like everyone's going to get a chance to be on there, and every single person who is auditioning on that episode has been specifically chosen to be there by the producers. The producers already know whether or not these people have any ability to sing or any sort of like not viable like talent that's going to be that they consider marketable. All of these people have already been vetted. So the people you see who come on there and they're just terrible at singing, the producers already know that they're terrible at singing. They have no delusions that this person is gonna suddenly like walk in and like sing like Freddie Mercury. They're doing this to humiliate those people because they want it for their show, because they know that people will watch it. And a lot of people, I know I didn't realize this, a lot of people don't realize that when you're seeing those auditions, that's like the third or fourth time that those people have auditioned. So they're being led to believe that they actually have, like they have talent, they have a chance at, getting onto or winning this show, when really they're just being used and mocked for views, which honestly I think is just absolutely terrible. Like I mean, there are a couple of people who stand out um from like episodes that I've seen, or like things I've seen floating around on YouTube of like the cringiest auditions ever. There are some people who it's like their ego, and these were adults, their ego, their rudeness was off the chart, and it's like, okay, I don't feel bad for that person having been on the show, because they are just, you can just tell what kind of person they are, and I don't feel bad for those people when they get made fun of on the show. But like when you've got like, there was one specifically that I think of, and I always see her come up on the angriest compilations. Was she was a Pink impersonator, or a Pink tribute artist. I think that's what they call it. Um, and she comes out, she sings, and the judges are like, well, you're presenting very much like Pink. We want to see something new, and so they let her do another song. And then when they reject her the second time, she loses it. And this was something that I thought was weird until after I found out more about the show. She says, well, you made me sing a Pink song. And when you're just watching that show, when you're just watching that episode, and you don't know anything else about how it works, it's like, well, that's weird. They didn't tell her to sing a Pink song. She came out and started talking about Pink. That was probably actually true. The producers probably did say, like, she was dressed, she looked, her whole appearance, her whole, like, just everything about her was very much obviously styled off of Pink. The producers probably did say, hey, do a Pink song. You're going to come out. You're basically going to just rock the whole Pink thing. and we're going to see what happens. So they probably did tell her to do a Pink song. And remember, this is the third or fourth audition. She has been led to believe that she's got talent, that she's got that X factor or whatever, the wow thing that the judges are looking for. So she did get a little violent. I felt really bad for her because I think that like I think they really did probably tell her like to do a Pink song. And so she probably just felt like completely used. She also does go too far in terms of her reaction to not getting through to the next round though.
No, baby, no. Stay on the stage. Stay on the stage.
Really kicking off, but
She's just the cameraman.
Inappropriate!
I tried to help her.
You did. You said come back as Zoe. And we gave her a second song.
She got the same chance everyone else gets.
So back to my audition. So we went into a room, there's 15, 20 other people of us. We get our 90 seconds to sing into the camera, and then you'd go back and sit down. So it was actually kind of interesting because you got to see like real people, like unfiltered. You got to see how these like different people who auditioned and how they auditioned. At that point, after everyone had gone, you would go back out into that slightly larger room. So there was the main room, and then we went to a slightly smaller room, and then we went to the smallest room. So we're back in that middle area again. They would go through your sheets, see kind of what you'd written in response to their answers, and then if there was someone that they particularly liked for whatever reason, they would grab them and have them come back into the room for a minute. I don't know what they talked to about because I wasn't one of them. It was usually only like one person per group from what I saw, because we had some other groups that were nearby, so we could kind of watch what was happening with them too. And then that person would go in, and then they would just dismiss us all, and then I don't think you could even go back and watch the other people again. You just had to leave. And then at that point, it's like, yeah, we'll call you or we won't. Bye. So that was my experience. Honestly, it was really interesting because I got to see all of these, like they did have some really awesome breakdancers. I think it was breakdancing. I don't know. It was like kind of like gymnastics and breakdancing at the same time. It was really cool. Did get to see and hear a lot of people who were like really, really talented, and it was really cool. It was an interesting experience. It was a fun learning experience, but it also made me realize like, wow, these shows are fucked up. Like just the way that they use and just mistreat some of the people who go on there. Like just they lead them along for so long, making these poor people think that it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I can do this. This is really happening. And then they just like demolish them in front of like everyone. It's not cool. So yeah, I do have a friend, and she was actually one of the ones who went to my audition with me. She auditioned for, I believe it was American Idol, and her audition was actually at MGM. Oh, it's not called MGM anymore. What used to be MGM Studios at Disney World. I don't remember. I think it's Hollywood Studios now instead. But so I will do a future video with her if you guys are interested, and she can talk about her experience as well. So yeah, I'll try and get another like actual singing video up sometime soon. I'm really sorry about the frequency of these videos. I do them whenever I can. And sometimes that's a few months. I do have a full-time job plus a couple of other part-time jobs that I do, and they pay, so I need to focus on those. But I will get some more stuff up hopefully pretty soon. If you've ever tried out for one of these shows, or if you know someone who's tried out for one of these shows, I'm really curious as to what their experience was. If you've got like, if they've got videos, or if you want to just kind of like give me just like a little blurb in the comments about what their experiences where I'd be really interested in hearing about it. I really do appreciate all the comments that you guys leave, and I do read all of them even if I don't reply. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.